guys, today is July 1st, which is my birthday month. So don't tell me happy birthday now. It's 28 days to my birthday, and I get people are just being nice, but I don't like small talk. We get to the point around here. So I ordered myself like 20 books on Book Outlet, and we're going to go through them. Treating myself for my birthday here. Oh, it's open. Okay. We have Groupies by Sarah Priscus, 1977, and Fawn Novik is in love with rock and roll. We have Sometimes I Never Suffered by Shane McRae. This is I don't know what it's about. It's a search for purpose and atonement, freedom and forgiveness. Imagining eternity not as an escape from the past or present, but a reverberating record and the culmination of time's manifold potential to mend. We have Nobody Gets Out Alive by Lee Newman. This was longlisted for the National Book Award, so it turns a spotlight on women struggling to survive, not just grizzly bears and charging moose, but the psychological complexities of love and family. Okay, we have a hardback for Treasures of the Sky by Jenny Zhang, and this is a propulsive and dazzling debut novel set against the backdrop of the Chinese Exclusion Act about a Chinese girl fighting to claim her place in the 1880s American West. White Teeth by Zadie Smith. I've never seen this cover of the book, so this is one of the most talked about fictional debuts of recent years. It's a funny, generous, big-hearted novel adored by critics and readers alike. I saw this one the other day. I'm glad I didn't buy it. This is Carolina Built by Kiana Alexander, a vivid movie novel based on the incredible life of real estate magnate Josephine N. Leary, a previously untold story of passion, perseverance, and building a legacy. Another hardback, The Linus by Chris Bourgelan. And this is a luxurious African safari turns deadly for a Hollywood star and her entourage, and this riveting historical thriller from the New York Times bestselling author of The Flight Attendant. Another hardback, In Whose Ruins? Power, Possession, and the Landscapes of American Empire by Alicia Puglionesi. So this one I had never heard of before, but I saw on Book Outlet and I thought it sounded good. So in this examination of landscape and memory, 4 sites of American history are revealed as places where historical truth was written over by oppressive fiction with profound repercussions. Haley Aldridge is Still Here by Elisa R. Sloan. This is a page-turn novel about a former child star and Hollywood it girl who is now fighting back against the conservatorship that has controlled her life for the past decade, so kind of Britney Spears vibes. Then we have The Great Mrs. Alias by Barbara Chase Rybod. I really like this cover. This is a murder and a case of mistaken identity brings the police to Hannah Elias's glitzy 5-story, 20-room mansion on Central Park West. This is the beginning of an odyssey that moves back and forth in time and reveals the dangerous secrets of a mysterious woman, the fortune she built, and her precipitous fall. Trespasses by Louise Kennedy. I think this one was nominated for the Booker or the Women's Prize. This is amid daily reports of violence. Kusha lives a quiet life with her mother in a small town near Belfast, teaching at a parochial school and moonlighting at her family's pub. So Irish setting. Then, Otesha Moshfegh. This is one of my anticipated books. All these are. But this is Lavana by Otesha Moshfegh. And this is, in a village buffeted by natural disasters, a motherless shepherd boy finds himself part of a power struggle that puts the community's faith to a savage test, and a spellbinding novel that represents Otesha Moshfegh's most exciting leap yet. And we have, they're falling. Time of the Locust by Maria Yejidi. I really liked her book, Creatures of Passage. So this is, takes readers into the heart and mind of an extraordinary autistic boy as she paints a complex portrait of many bonds that can tie a family together. And then this one, this is the sequel to Gillette. This is Home by Marilyn Robinson. So this is a sequel, so I'm not going to really tell y'all what it's about. And then we have Memory Wall by Anthony Doerr. He wrote one of my favorite books. And this is in the luminous and beautiful title story. Okay, we don't care about that. A young boy in South Africa comes to possess an old woman's secret, a piece of the past with the power to redeem a life. And then we have Death in the Andes, which I have been fascinated by this lately. So this is by Mario Vargas Llosa. So this is in the remote Andean village. 3 men have disappeared. Peruvian Army Corporal Latuma and his deputy Tomas have dispatched to investigate and to guard the town from the Shining Path guerrillas they assume are responsible. And we have The East Indian by Brenda Chari. This is Meet Tony, a compassionate and instability curious with a unique perspective on every scene he encounters. And lastly, in this box, we have The Porcelain Maker by Sarah Freethy. And this is set in Germany in 1929 and America in 1993. This is a powerful novel of enduring love and courage in the face of appalling brutality as the daughter seeks to unlock the mystery of her past. Moving on to box number 2, which is a smaller box. I just put like one book was in here. It might be. Okay, this one's a lot harder to open. Let me get in. Okay, I think it is just one book in here. Yeah, so this is The Wing Walkers. Y'all know I'm an aviation girly. So this is by Taylor Brown. This is a former World War I ace pilot and his wing walker wife barnstorm across Depression-era America, performing acts of aerial daring. And those are all the books I got for myself for my birthday. 25. I'm turning 25, and these are the books that I treated myself with. Oh my, I didn't realize I had already started recording. So hey guys, welcome to a vlog. Why do I have these in here? But yeah, so y'all saw me open my birthday gifts to myself. I got myself 19 books for my birthday on Book Outlet, so they were very cheap, like $5 and less, and we love that. Right One Direction. Oh, I shouldn't shut that door, Fred's in there. But I do want to go over my TBR with y'all, and we are gonna go to Barnes & Noble later to buy myself more books. So the weekly TBR, the poetry collection I'm starting my day is Beautiful Sad Eyes by R.M. Drake and R.H. Sin. This is just the melancholy in life and how that you can learn from everything in life, and even the bad stuff, you have to go through it. It's just part of the program. And then I am starting a 5-star prediction in about 15 minutes, and that is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. This is about coming of age in Appalachia, so a masterpiece of contemporary American fiction. Demon Copperhead captures the heart as it evokes a young hero's unforgettable journey to maturity in the mountains of southern Appalachia. And my bookmark thing's falling out. And then my mood read is the Lindbergh Nanny by Mariah Fredericks. This is about Charlie Lindbergh, who is the son of Charles Lindbergh, who he was a baby and got kidnapped and found dead. That all really happened, and this is all of that at the nanny's perspective. And then my ebook is An Echo in the Bone by Diana Gabaldon. This is the 7th book in the Outlander series. This is following a family during the American Revolution with some time travel elements. Also today, my favorite hockey player signed with a different team, and my favorite basketball player signed with a different team. So I went into this offseason knowing all my favorite players are going to be leaving my favorite teams. Mitch Marner, you're like the last one, so can you not? Thanks. Or you could come to Carolina, that would be great. I hate it, but I mean, it's inevitable, it's gonna happen, and it sucks because I really thought Klay Thompson would be a warrior for life. Like, he always gave that vibe, and so there's a part of me that thinks disloyalty, but I know Klay's a good person, so it's still, and I'm like, what, he's in Dallas, there's no water in Dallas. Where is he gonna use his boat? But that's like, it is what it is, because NBA is a whole different thing than the NHL. So yeah, football, I don't think I have anything to worry about, which that wouldn't be happening right now, but football, I'm Gucci. Baseball. Baseball's only as concerning. I've had my favorite player leave my team before and then he came back later. But yeah, so I mean, this is a part of sports and it's all a business and that kind of stuff happens. But I am gonna charge the camera and then I'm going to read and then I'm gonna go to Barnes & Noble and then I'm gonna get lunch and it's gonna be great. I wanted to add more books to the growing stock. These are not books, these are, I guess they're technically books, but they're magazines that are definitely not new, they're from the 90s. But I did go to Barnes & Noble, y'all would have saw what I got, and I got Open Throat by Henry Hoke. This is at the point of view of a mountain lion in Los Angeles, and I like books that have the point of view of animals, I've come to realize. And look at that writing style, beautiful, beautiful. We love short, straight to the point. That one's been like everywhere. I'm sorry, I think I need to zoom in a little bit. I feel like I'm way too like low to the ground. Okay, then I got, this one actually was on my list today. And something I did, I went on the Barnes & Noble app to see what books they had in stock and just made a list of books that I've been wanting to buy that they had in stock. And honestly, I'm like, I shouldn't have done that because I was just like, wham, bam, found all this. I'm out of there for a month. It was so fast. So this one actually wasn't on my list, but I've been seeing it like all over TikTok, BookTube, and it is The Reformatory by Tenerife Dew. This is a horror that takes place in Florida in the 1950s. So that. Then I got, this was on my list, Night Watch by Jane Ann Phillips. And this is winner of the Pulitzer Prize. This is about a mesmerizing story about a mother and daughter seeking refuge in the chaotic aftermath of the Civil War. Why did I think this was British? Because I saw this at a store back in like January and didn't buy it. And lastly, this one is just right up my alley by the setting and everything. We start out in Paris in 1920 and then end up in New Orleans. So this is The Pelican Girls by Julia Melly. And they are women who are, so the director of the hospital rounds up nearly 100 female volunteers of childbearing age, orphans, prisoners, and mental patients to be shipped to Louisiana to populate the colony. So those are the books I got. And yes, I did start Demon Copperhead and I am loving it. So I will get back into that at 6. It's like 5:10 probably right now. I don't know. Here's my phone. It's 5:14. So I'm going to go switch out my outside pillows to 4th of July pillows because the 4th of July is this week. So I want to be festive. So I'm going to go. Happy Tuesday. I did get some book mail today because it's July. So I got Whoa, which is a house cat story of despair by Lucy Kinsley. This is a comic collection and I would take anything about animals. Like after I read Laika, I'm like, I will read anything with animals, anything. And I've heard this is very like, gets you wholesome, emotional, all that, and it smells so good. I love the way this smells. Who's the publisher? RH Graphic. So I heard about this on a Book Olive, who, when I watch her videos, I'm like, we're adding every single book on here to my TBR. And that was one of them. Because, as I said, I am running very low on graphic novels. So I did get another one this month called Ducks, which I also heard about through Olive. It's my thing. I'm wanting to add more nonfiction. I'm not buying, but I want to add it to my TBR more. I do have one for my July TBR, and then I want to add a graphic novel to my TBR every month. And a graphic novel is really great to add because I could just read this in one weekend and, you know, get it out the park. Get it over with. I don't want to say get over with that because that makes it sound negative. Got to 37% in Demon Copperhead. And yeah, I am loving this. I have no complaints whatsoever, which is great because it's so rare that it happens. We did have it happen in May, but it's rare. At least this year it has been. So we'll go through the system, the cop-out system, and then I will talk about all these tabs here. So characters, it's one of these books where I didn't realize how much I am caring for our character, Demon. Yeah, it's Demon. That's his nickname. His real name is Damon, like his birth name. But it's one of those books where I didn't realize how much I was caring for this character until like he's getting in kind of trouble, and I was just so angry because it's a misunderstanding, and I was just like, oh my gosh, oh my god, like, yeah. So it is making me feel those emotions outwardly. There are parts where I'm laughing out loud, where I gasp, or where my jaw drops, and for me, a great book can do those things and makes you have those outward reactions. But sometimes really bad books will make me have outward reactions, so I'll just be like, oh my gosh, like, that can happen. But yes, these characters are all, I don't know how many characters, it's all told a demon's perspective. This is Demon looking back at his life, telling this story, very similar to the other book, the last book I gave 5 stars to in Disoriental. We have Camilla, who is looking back at her life and telling her family's story. Now this, we're mainly getting his story in like recent family, so don't think it's going back 100 years like Disoriental, but these two books are very similar. They're similar but completely different at the same time. I say it's similar because it's somebody coming of age telling their story. And usually in Disoriental is in Revolution, Iran, where this is in rural Appalachia, very much a lot of poverty. I got the Hillbilly Elegy this weekend at a free little library in Concord, so I'm debating like picking that up after this. I'm just scared that they might be too similar. I know one's nonfiction, obviously, but so I don't know if it's a good idea to read them close together or not. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But yes, there are so many characters, but I don't have any of them confused, which is great, and I think it's just really is showing all the different kinds of people you have in a small rural town. We are in Virginia, that little, I did not realize how big Virginia is. This is in Lee County, Virginia, and that county is closer to Indianapolis, Columbus, Columbia, Raleigh, even Montgomery, Alabama, Nashville. I don't remember who else, but it's closer to all these other, probably West Virginia, closer to all these other state capitals than its own capital of Richmond. Insane. I did not realize Virginia was so big. Because the only other instance where I've had this happen is when I was in Amarillo, Texas, and I looked up, I was just reading their Wikipedia page, and it was like, you're closer to Denver than you are to Austin. And I was like, what? Crazy. But I mean, it makes sense in Texas because Texas is the biggest state in the lower 48. And then Virginia, you don't really think it, but states like Virginia are very long, and North Carolina is the same way. I think North Carolina is 600 miles from like Murphy, North Carolina to the Outer Banks. Very big states. Because I'm in a little tiny state, South Carolina, I think is is it the smallest in the South? The only other one I can think is Arkansas, so I don't really know. But yeah, so atmosphere is so good. I don't think I've been to Lee County, Virginia. Maybe, no, I don't think so. I've been to very close in Kentucky and Tennessee, but yeah, it's a tri-state area, all in that area near Knoxville. Yeah, just the dialect. I love how, because as I told y'all, this is Demon looking back at his life, and just the way he talks, I'm like, yeah, that's it. That is it. I understand all these sayings and everything completely. And yeah, the writing, so I think that falls into the writing, and the writing's very picturesque. I didn't know, I've never read Barbara Kingsolver before, who I know is a very well-known author, but I didn't know how her writing would be, but it's fantastic. It's great. Very picturesque, as I said. Very great at just setting the scene. And then plot. Yeah, this is definitely a character-driven story, which is my personal preference, but there are so many themes here, just, yeah, about poverty in America. And we're going to talk about them more when we get to these pages, but it's really just coming of age in Appalachia, and the poverty of it, and a lot of stuff that goes along with poverty. He is in the foster care system, a lot of drug use. I'm sure a lot of y'all are aware how bad that is in Appalachia. And yeah, so it's just showing all that. And we are going to go to my tabs now. So I did run out of quite a few tabs. I only have my love and writing tabs left. So we're doing dog ears as well. I don't know if y'all can definitely see that. And so I love this. I don't know if that's from Tobacco or not, because there's a part where working in the tobacco fields, which, yeah, when I was in Virginia before, they were like, don't rub the tobacco leaves, they'll go straight to your head. And that we see that happen. So the first tab is a writing one. On page 2, I'm like, dialect, spot on, love it. And it does, yeah, at the start it was giving me Florida Project vibes, because we just have him running around, a mom who is she's an addict, and then no dad around and living in poverty, which obviously Florida and Virginia completely different, but it still kind of gave me Florida Project vibes. Then our next tab is a general. I don't know why, but the writing reminds me of Gatsby. Not so much anymore, but this was on page 9. I was getting great Gatsby vibes of it, just the way it's being told. And we have another general tab. Yeah, I was thinking some of these people might be white supremacists. I don't know yet, but just a thought. And we have a pink one. Yeah, this is something I think about a lot. A city is the weirdest, loneliest thing, because you can just go, that's only when I've talked about taking classes with a lot of people versus a small group. I prefer a lot of people, because you can just kind of be, you're with a lot of people, but you can just be an individual, because you're not really going to be chosen as much. And I think that goes along with a city as well, because think New York City, there's 8 million people there, but you're really in your own bubble, because nobody's really caring what everyone else is doing. So I thought that quote, it's just something I thought of before, so to see it on page was cool. And then I love the some of the things, like when he goes to the he goes to an aquarium in Gatlinburg, and I just seeing that through his eyes made me smile, because he's like obsessed with the ocean, and so seeing sharks and everything for the first time was really awesome for him. Yeah, and then I was just wondering how one character would react to something in the book. Shows it, and I think this is very logical, that all the way the things add up, everything just adds up just right, and there is consequences for actions, and there haven't been loose holes. At least not yet. Then this one, at the time, I thought my life couldn't get any worse. Here's some advice. Don't ever think that. Yeah. And then this one, a girl cracked her Etch-a-Sketch over a guy's head, and that made me gasp, because I was like, oh my gosh, that is something to imagine. Okay, this was just talking about his mom's sobriety, and I thought it added a lot to his character, and I was like, that's so sad for a kid to have to feel like that. And then this one, on the drive back, we rolled down the windows. Just smell that, she said. Fall time. Plowed under silage fields, smoke from people's leaf burning, my favorite, and something a little bit sweet. Maybe apples that had rotted on the ground. Yeah, just liked that. Tommy said he drew skeletons because they were easy. He wasn't a talented person like me that could do faces, expressions, arms with muscles, all like that. So he stuck to skeletons. Whenever he wanted to see them, they were there. He said his little buddies, and like me, I would draw happy faces on things as a kid just because I thought it was nice, and that was kind of the same thing there. So for anything, so for any kid that gets that as an option, take the sweet thing and run with it. Hide. I love it so hard, because it's going to fucking leave you and not come back. Yeah, powerful. Yeah, there are just a lot of instances, because obviously going through all this stuff, you're going to gain wisdom from it. And as I'm assuming Demon's an adult telling us this story, looking back, he's going to gain wisdom from all these experiences. Oh my gosh, I've almost been going on 10 minutes. So it hit me pretty hard. There's no kind of sad in this world that will stop it turning. People will keep on wanting what they want, and you're on your own. Which is so true. And then this one, the first to fall in any war are forgotten. No love gets lost over one person's reckless mistakes. Only after it's a mountain of bodies bagged do we think to raise a flag and call the mistake by a different name. Because one downfall times 1,000 has got to mean something. It needs its own brand. Some point to all the sacrifice. And then this one, just how being a kid isn't always great, and you just have to deal with the punches thrown at you because you're a minor and you can't do anything about it. And yeah, just because I know I romanticize childhood a lot, and I was obviously lucky to have a good childhood, but then you have to think about the people who weren't so lucky. How a lot of people just feel like we ignore a lot of people who are less than us, or more or less off than us, and I think that is just so prevalent in American society. Then this one just reminded me of somebody in my real life. And then Maggot learning to drive, courting whatever he had in mind. Disaster, possibly. I just liked it. And then we have, I got up every day thinking the sun was out there shining. It could just as well shine on me as any other human person. And I think that ties in with the thing I was saying about how it doesn't matter who you are, what level of society you're on. Then, and I think Jesus, this is all there is, just thinking that his life in rural Appalachian Virginia. And I was like, yeah, it's sad but true. And then, you tell me why it makes sense for guys wanting money from you to come and take your car so you can't earn another dime. That's the grown-up version, I guess, of teachers yelling at you for hating school. Like, yeah, that does not make sense for the repo people to but take your car and then you can't go to work to make money because you don't have a car. Yeah, I was just like, whoa, never thought of that. Foodland got mentioned, and I love Foodland. So I had to underline that because I was like, oh my gosh. And then this was a scene where I was like, this is picturesque. This guy was like that. He said fishing was something he did to clear his head, sitting with his dogs at the water's edge, listening to the birds and frogs, all singing their praises. He felt right close to God, and I thought that was, I was like, this is picturesque. And then there was a scene I felt really angry during that I told y'all about. And then this character gets introduced, and I am liking her. And then, why did I underline this one? I'm not seeing, oh, okay, I know why I did. So I was like, yeah, this lady does give witch vibes, but in a good way so far. So that's where I got to page 202. I'm liking to read about 100 pages a day in here. Yeah, I'm very much enjoying it. I've been going 13 minutes, so I'm gonna leave y'all now. Again, a lot of yapping today. I got to 80% in the Lindbergh Nanny. This is my mood read, so I do want to give y'all my thoughts because I haven't done that yet. So characters, our main character is Bessie or Betty, it depends who she's with. So Betty Gal, she is the nanny for the Lindbergh family and of the little boy who is kidnapped and murdered. So I think this was a really smart choice because this is like people say the American kidnapping, like the most famous kidnapping case in American history. So I think it's really smart to go with the nanny rather than to do the parent's perspective or the person who actually did its perspective. So I thought that was a really smart move, but I don't really feel the connection between the nanny and Charlie, the boy. I just think there is a lot of building on her character, of her backstory and her feelings about the case, but I wish there would have been more character building on their relationships in the book. I just think they needed more chemistry there. Atmosphere, I don't think this is supposed to be a cozy mystery, but it feels very cozy to me. This is mainly taking place on the east coast of the United States and then in Glasgow, Scotland, and in the early 1930s. It just feels cozy to me. I don't know if it's because it's a historical mystery kind of jam there, but there is a cozy feeling. And then the writing is rather lengthy. I am skimming, I'm not gonna lie, like I read every other paragraph. But then again, I think it needed to be longer just to have more of the development of the character relationships. But for like the actual prose, I do think that is lengthy. And then plot, I was never gripped. I haven't been gripped, and I'm at 80%, so I don't think I'm gonna be gripped. Yes, I was generally curious about this because my only knowledge is I watched a documentary on it like 10 years ago. So I didn't really know what the verdict was going to be. if there was going to be a verdict and how crime cases like kidnappings and murders were handled 90 years ago. I really didn't know what to expect and all of that, but I was never really gripped. So this book is fine. It's, yeah, like somewhere high 2-star, 3-star book. It was a fine time, but my grandmother, who was really big into reading mysteries and thrillers, she loved this book and it was a 5-star for her. So that is, I bought this book originally for her for Christmas in 2022, and then she was like, you need to read it. So just know that if you are into thrillers and mystery books, then you might enjoy this one more than I have, because for the mystery aspect, I really had no idea where this was going to go, even though it is based on a true story. I have no idea who did it or anything like that. I wasn't sure. So if you're into mysteries, I would recommend picking it up still. So I am going to go get a shower and all of that, then read Outlander later, and then see y'all tomorrow. Wednesday, I did just cut my hair a little bit, my bangs, because I'm realizing I have to cut them like every other week or they get too long. But I did get a package from, it's upside down, from Blackwell's. I think this is my first ever one, and then it has that on the back. I ordered it on Amazon, but it came from Blackwell. So basically, if you're curious, this is at least what I know from TikTok, is that Blackwell's, you can get UK covers for US prices, like shipping and all of that, which is awesome. I don't really care about a cover, but I did want this book in hardback because the first book in the series I have as a hardback, so I wanted them to match up. So here we go. Oh, that was very easy to get into. We love that. And this is the book, and that is Wayward by Chuck Wendig. This is the sequel to Wanderers, which I did really enjoy. It was not a 5-star, but I do think I would have enjoyed it more if I didn't choose it as my first book of the year, because it's obviously like 800 pages, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm already behind on my reading goal, and it's literally the first week of January, so I think it was just when it was chosen for me to read. But this is the sequel, and this is a sci-fi series that is like pandemic, plague, that kind. And that's my favorite sci-fi trope, is plague, dystopian. So I got that. And does it come with a bookmark or anything? Sometimes from the different places they do, but this one does not. So this was $30, and with shipping, yeah, I got it on Amazon, so I assume the shipping was free. I don't know, but that's the book mill for the day. Hey guys, I just got back from Target. So here's the fun stuff that I got that's not food. I got some vitamin C serum, and literally if this was 1 cent more, I could have got a $5 gift card, but yeah. Then the school supplies is coming out, which some people might think that's early, but the school's here, go year round. So I got these like index cards. This one has cats on it. This has dogs on it. I use stuff like this for when I annotate books. No, when I don't annotate books, for the books I'm not annotating in, I write down notes. So those are really handy. I did get a book. This one I've been looking for forever, and that is The House of Eve by Cicada Johnson. This is by the Washington Post. It says, a triumph of historical fiction, an affecting and arresting exploration of young Black womanhood and motherhood in the mid-20th century, taking place in Washington, D.C. And then I got 2 notebooks. I am planning to make a journal out of some of my Bath & Body Works stuff, like the packaging. And this one has dogs on it and matches this. And then this one has frogs on it, and this is like such good quality too. Like this one I got probably in 2021. Like the quality is just a lot better. I guess this is a Nintendo one, and then this is Green Room, but I don't know if the quality is just improved. And these are recyclable, made of paper, contains 60% recycled fiber, so that's awesome. Guys, I wasn't expecting to give y'all an update on Demon Copperhead today. I thought it would be tomorrow, but I got to 55%, and yes, you can see we are still tabbing quite a bit, so the thoughts aren't going to be like as in-depth as they were yesterday, because that was several days worth of reading that I told y'all about yesterday. So let's get to where we start. I read 105 pages. I don't know if I said that. So the first tab today is, this is for writing, I wished I could find the book of my whole dad in that house and read every page. And it's really like, yeah, human life is like a book. Every moment in life is like a page or a paragraph in a book. And I thought that was kind of amazing. And then there's this part where his, I think this would be great uncle, he is, he has a disability, I guess is how you would say it, because it doesn't specify exactly what happened to him. So that's what I'm going to say. So he reads a lot, and he reads a lot by dead authors like Shakespeare and, you know, the classics, and he makes kites and writes down his favorite lines from the books on the kites, because since these people are dead, you know, they're in heaven or wherever he believes, so he flies the kites as a way to appreciate and say thanks to the authors, and I just love that. I thought that was beautiful. And then this one, this was one, just a quote that I liked. I wanted to go home, which is nowhere, but it's a feeling you keep having, even after that's no place anymore. Probably if they dropped a bomb, there wasn't any food left on the planet, you'd still keep feeling hungry too. And there's been instances where I am home, but I feel like I want to go home just because, mice. So there are just some kind of anxiety, which thankfully for me, I don't really get that anymore. But when I was, not maybe when I was a little older than him, definitely, but not to the extent, I haven't been through the extent of the stuff he's been through. And then we have another tab over here. So yeah, this is how I think a lot of books are trauma porn, where there's just trauma happening left and right and no positives, and y'all know I hate when that happens. But this one, there is good in the bad. I think in everything in life, there's good in everything, there's bad in everything, you know, yin yang. And so this quote, he says, on the slow bus ride of my dog shit life, for some while I got to stop off here. So he's saying, maybe there is a God in heaven after all, because of this moment, this home he's living in. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I love that. And that is when I realized this is not a trauma porn book. And then this, I just laughed out loud at a quote. And then Miss Annie, she's a good person, at least so far. Hopefully she doesn't turn out to be bad. And then these were two that I like the writing of. They're talking about how a lot happened in this kind of section of like 8th grade, where there's the talk of the Confederate flags and how this part in Western Virginia, they weren't really part of the Confederacy and were trying to join the Union because it's just so different. The backwoods of states are so different from the more coastal areas where you have all the plantations. So their teacher, who is a black man, was telling them, he was like, it doesn't make sense to have the Confederate flag and the American flag, and just all the history of that. And then we get even more of, they're doing this project of looking into their ancestors, that kind of thing, of ethnicity, all of that, or nationality of their ancestors. And they're talking, so they're like, why do you think there are no jobs in this part of the world? And going into how coal mining and all of that, the big companies, big business really like destroyed that part of the country. And then this one, I really love this whole paragraph here. I thought the writing was really good, but I'm just going to read y'all one sentence. Everybody warns about bad influences, but it's these things inside you that are going to take you down. And that is so true. And then I saw 9/11 happen. And just before we got to that, there are all these talks of country patriotism, and then 9/11 happened. And then I have two here. So I think there's this inner turmoil inside Damon or Demon of is he Damon, is he Demon, his life before he got saved necessarily, and just how there is that inner turmoil of his athletic success and all of that versus the life he had before living in poverty. And I thought that was interesting. And then what is this? Yeah, there's how I told you about the black teacher. He's married to a white hippie woman with tattoos. That's Miss Annie that I was talking about. And so he was telling this woman, they were just talking about his teachers or whatever, and the woman was like, there's a world of people wondering on that. Why she stoops to learn herself that way by marrying a black man. And so he's like, if she'd married any other guy in Lee County, they'd be asking why he lowered himself to marry a woman with tattoos. And yeah, that's so true. And then this one just made me think. There was an old wrecked cabin on the property, logs and a fallen down chimney, but no roof. We would have called it a fort if we were kids, but now it was nothing. A stupid place we were forced to hang out because we couldn't yet drive. And yeah, the way the world changes in eyes from a child to a teenager. And then this one of when he is starting to get that popularity and, as I said, athletic success. I was only just now starting to exist. And just thinking about that, I think that line gives you a lot to think about. And just the warmth I felt of him being reunited with another character from earlier in the book. I just felt really warm inside. And then yeah, this last chapter I read, they're going cruising just through the town on the strip, and it gave such dazed and confused vibes, and I love that because I love driving around, and yeah. So that is Demon Copperhead for the day. I'm gonna go eat some dinner, but I did want to give y'all an update on my reading journey. I just finished the Lindbergh Nanny, so we got to change out our calendar here, and we need to see what my next mood read is, which is Songs in Ursa Major. And I need to put my TBR book. These are like my TBR baskets. I don't have a TBR cart. I would like one, but I don't want to build one myself. Okay, so let's talk about the Lindbergh Nanny. So not a lot has changed in the 50-some pages since I last talked to y'all. But characters, I think it was smart to have the nanny as the main character and seeing this crime through her perspective. But I do wish there would have been more time spent on building the character, building and developing the dynamics of the characters' relationships. Atmosphere, this read like a very cozy mystery. It's taking place in the Northeast, and then having that historical 1930s setting, it just overall felt very cozy. And then the writing, I did not like the writing. I just think it was a little too much. I don't know how to say it because it wasn't too descriptive, but it just was tiresome. The writing was tiresome, so I found myself skimming. And as for plot, I think this was a really unique plot, as I said, to have the nanny being the person viewing this, and this is and I think it's interesting that this is based on an actual true historical crime that happened and swept the nation back nearly 100 years ago, because we always have those crimes nowadays. I'm trying to think of one, you know, like Casey Anthony is who I'm thinking, where it's like everybody's hooked on it. This might be the first one like that, and that it was happening to famous people, like a famous person's kid was kidnapped. That's crazy. But I was never really completely hooked. Like, it was just happening, it was fine. And then intrigue, yeah, I really didn't know where this was going to go. I didn't know who this book was going to accuse. I didn't know what the verdicts and the trials would be. So that was all intriguing. And yeah, so it was a fine time. I gave it a straight up 3-star. It was a fine book. And then tomorrow we will start Songs in Ursa Major, which this one looks kind of long. How long is it here? A little over 300 pages. 324, and I don't even know what that's part of it. Okay, yeah, 324 pages. So I don't know what genre this exactly is. Okay, we're in 1969. But we will talk about the plot of that book tomorrow. Also, I just had the thought of, for the second half of the year, if I put all the books I hauled in one of those little notepads I got today, might start doing that. I think that could be a good way to keep track of that and keep track of how often I read the books that I've hauled. This piece of paper is driving me crazy. Like, do you want to go on that side? Okay, it does look better on that side, but still, it doesn't look perfect. So I am gonna go read Outlander and get a bath. I'm kind of late for my bath. Oh, and while I wait for the water and all, I will write my book review for the Lindbergh. Guys, happy 4th of July. This used to be my favorite holiday. It's not that I dislike it. It's just I haven't done anything for the 4th of July since probably pre-COVID. Okay, I feel like every time I meet somebody new, I have to bring up COVID. I'm like, it's just been, I don't know. It's a shared experience, but sometimes I'm just like, ooh, I probably shouldn't bring it up because I don't know how this person feels about that, because apparently the pandemic was controversial, you know. But yeah, so I have not done like anything for the 4th of July since like 2019, like going out events. I've grilled out and all that. Today we're not, the high today here is 96. So let's see what the feels like temperature is with the heat index. Currently it's 94. It says it's cloudy, but it literally is not. Yeah, it feels like 101. So just grilling out would be way too hot. Dealing with a flame and all of that, and that degree of weather doesn't sound fun. But I did get to 26% in Beautiful Sad Eyes by R.M. Drake and R.H. Sin, and today I got to R.H. Sin's part, and I'm not liking that person's writing. I don't know what they're, because with R.M. Drake it says Robert M. Drake, so I don't know of R.H. Sin. I don't know what gender they are, so if I misgender them, I'm sorry. But the first part that R.M. Drake did, I really liked. I would say, so a 3 plus 4 is a 7 divided by 2. And what would that rating be? A 3.5. So yeah, that means it was really good. Not my favorite poetry collection I've ever read, but I did really enjoy it, and I even took pictures of some of the pages to share with my family on Facebook, and I probably will share on Instagram for my friends as well. But there were some really worthy bits there, and it just makes you realize, yeah, we've all lived the same experience, right? That life is the same for everybody. Know that it's really comforting to know that other people have been in the same experience that you've been in and all of that, and I feel like this book really emphasized that. And there were just some really good quotes about how in life, yes, bad things are gonna happen, but they do shape us as a person, even if that's hard to believe at times. It's true, and I just think it had a really good message. And now we have switched authors, and I'm not really like theirs. The next one, Sins, is just so different throughout, and I don't think it's as moving, and I think it feels more negative, honestly, compared to Drake's, not Drake the singer, but the writer Drake. It just feels a lot different, just a whole different vibe, and I'm not liking it as much as I liked the other part. So we'll see how that goes, but I still would definitely recommend this poetry collection. This is the first book. There are 2 books, and on Goodreads it counts as 1 book, which is kind of annoying because how I'm gonna have to add up the pages to put my page number is gonna be kind of difficult. But I am going to start working on that Bath & Body Works journal I told you I'm going to do, and then I am going to, as I told you about, putting down the books hauled. for this half of the year. I think that is a really good idea that I had, so I am going to do that now. Hello everybody. I got to 75% according to Goodreads and 77% according to Storygraph, and I feel depressed after today. After the reading in here today, it was a depressing time. I still don't consider this book trauma porn, but that section, that like quarter of the book, was very tough. And really, I think one of the main themes here is how just the world has effed Appalachia up with big pharma. It goes really, I didn't realize a lot of this about how like they send drug reps in to get people hooked on these drugs essentially, and just how the whole market thing works on this, and how like it's not policed, like it's crazy. And then the industry, I don't know if you consider business or industry, but like with the coal mining, how that obviously messed up a lot of stuff, and like these mills and factories people were working in that just had a lot of stuff with asbestos, is that how you say that? That kind of thing. And so we did those. And then Hollywood, I think Hollywood does this to like the whole South, is like they're all dumb rednecks and toothless, and you know the stereotypes you see. And definitely they were talking about how like comics and everything are a big part of this story, and how like they only said like Superman left the like Smallville, I think is what it was. And so our character Demon, he didn't understand as a kid why he got sad by that, but now he realizes it's because nobody cares about us in a small town USA and all of that. And yeah, it's definitely something that I experience a lot, is people hate on South Carolina a lot, like people from North Carolina, which y'all know I love North. So people in North Carolina will like say Sub Carolina, and they like make fun of our roads being messed up, which yeah, the roads are SHIT, and like yeah, they act like how I was just saying, like the redneck thing and all of that to South Carolina, and just how it will be like a butt of a joke, and nobody takes this part of the country seriously, and it sucks. So oh yeah, I do need to mark where I'm vlogging, on page 420, which I've been talking about drugs, fitting, right? Chapter 50. So I'm on track to finish this tomorrow, which is exciting because it hasn't, for a book where, yeah, this has been like the fastest I've read a book in a while. Because, you know, in summer I've just been mood reading. So, you know, let's go to where I started tabbing today, which I think is going to be here. Yeah. 39. Yeah, chapter 39, where I started today, starts out on the 4th of July. And when I'm filming this, it is the 4th of July. When I read this, it was the 4th of July. So that was just, you know, kind of funny. Then this one, we have Mouse, who is from Philly, visiting. And this is kind of funny, some of her quotes. And yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about. Nobody rides you like you ride yourself, they say, but we get more than our share of help. These people and vegetarians and so forth that are all about being fair to the races and the gays. I'm down with that, I agree. But would it cross any mind to be fair to us? No, it would not. How do I know? TV, the comedy channel, is so funny. It can make you, okay, make you want to go unlock the gun cabinet and kill yourself. But do they really think that along with being brainless and having sex with animals, we don't even have cable? Like, that's very blunt but true. And then this, I just love this line. So one look at her, I was gone. This is the truth. It was first sight. I fell down a well into some shiny dream, and if somebody had thrown me a rope, with which some few eventually did, you couldn't have paid me to climb it. Some call that addiction, some say love. Fine line. I think for what we read today, or what I read today, so fitting. That paragraph describes it perfectly. And then this one, maybe because I was finally ready for something that good to happen for me, to trust the wild, woolly universe. And this one, of, yeah, good people, bad people, what does that even mean? And I just thought for everything that I was reading, yeah, of who is really good and bad. Okay, the smell of mold, mold, sod, sweat, and pin-up lust, and popcorn, the Friday night lights. Can smell that perfectly. I have not been to a high school football game in I don't know how long, but that I think did a good job. Okay, we have a lot of like these dog ear tabs. Yeah, something that I wasn't expecting from a character that I won't get into because spoilers. She said before we were us, we weren't anything, and there's a lot of that. Like, we talked about that yesterday. And then teens, like, I doubt they know what they are doing, how messed up this is. And the Myrtle Beach got mentioned, so I had to tab that. And then many had tried their best with us, but we came out of 2 hungry mothers, 4 demons spawned by 4 different starving hearts. Good writing there. Then I think our main character will die at the beach. No idea if that will happen. Then Newport News got mentioned, which is where my dad grew up. And then that was a theory on that tab. Yeah, so this is about a dog. Gray whiskers around his mouth, all yellowed like an old man that chews tobacco. I just thought it was funny. And we have a pink tab here. I'd let summer get by me without notice. Here it was, the sun coming down through tall trees and long waterfalls of light, the birds starting up their evening songs. There's one like water trilling over rocks, pretty enough to make you cry. Wood robin. Thought that was beautiful. And then like Florida, like why did they have to make fun of us? Why couldn't it be a Dakota or something? Why not Florida? And I'm like, oh, it will be. But yeah, this is like a modern version of the book Betty, the millennial version of Betty. But yes, loving this. Look at all that. I am on track to finish this tomorrow. But I'm gonna go record my 4th of July decorations and then eat some dinner. It's time to talk to the camera because we are about to start a new book. But one little 4th of July rant. Y'all, I've told y'all how dry it's been and how I don't remember the last time I've seen an actual rainstorm. People were shooting fireworks like everywhere and I'm like, please don't set my grass on fire. The grass is so crunchy. I'll actually have added that video somewhere in here. So y'all can see how crunchy my grass was when I was walking on it a few hours ago. Oh my gosh. So we're about to start Songs in Ursa Major by Emma Brody, and of course it's going to be compared to Daisy Jones. When I put it in on Storycraft, I was reading it and clicked the personalized tab. That's what came up. And the writer looks young. Her dog is named Freddie Mercury. But okay. The year is 1969 and the Baleen Island Folk Fest is abuzz with one name, Jesse Reed. Are they named after Taylor Jenkins Reid? But Jesse is tall, soft-spoken, with eyes blue as stone-washed denim. With his intricate guitar riffs and supple baritone, he's poised to tip from fame to legend with this one headlining performance. That is until his motorcycle crashes on the way to the show. Okay, he sounds like my type. So, Jane Quinn is a Bailing Island local whose music flows as naturally as her long blonde hair. When she and her bandmates are asked to play in Jesse Reed's place at the festival, it almost doesn't seem real. But Jane plants her bare feet on the main stage and delivers the performance of a lifetime, stopping Jesse's disappointed fans in their tracks. A Star is Born. Okay, when I know people really did perform bare feet on stage, and that's awesome, but in books it's always like, I'm not like other girls. But okay. Jesse stays on the island to recover from his near fatal accident and strikes up a friendship with Jane, coaching her through the production of her first record. As Jane contends with the music industry's sexism, Jesse becomes her advocate, and what starts as a shared calling soon becomes a passionate love affair. On tour with Jesse, Jane is so captivated by the giant stadiums, the late nights, the wild parties, and media attention that she is blindsided when she stumbles on the dark secret beneath Jesse's music. With nowhere to turn, Jane must reckon with the shadows of her own past. What follows is the birth of one of the most iconic albums of all time, shot through with the lyrics, the icons, the lore, and the adrenaline of the early 70s music scene. Songs in Ursa Major pulses with romantic longing and ask the question so many female artists must face. What are you willing to sacrifice, or what are we willing to sacrifice for our dreams? So this sounds like a really summery read, so reading it starting on 4th of July seems like a good idea. And also, I meant to tell y'all, this has to be made a movie. I looked it up. If it's being adapted, Demon Copperhead, and I haven't seen it anywhere, but I know I want Jeremy Allen White in it. I don't know who I want him to play. Maybe Fast Forward. And then I knew I wanted Leo somewhere in this, but I was like, who would he play? So I'm thinking Coach, but I feel like, I don't know, would Leo do something like that? Because the Coach role also gives Matthew McConaughey vibes, so... But Jeremy Allen White and Leo DiCaprio are who I see casted in this. I don't even know who would play Demon. No idea, but those are some casting ideas if anybody in Hollywood's watching this vlog. I'm going to start the Ursa Major book now. Songs in Ursa Major. Let's start it. To 5% in that book. Not too bad, but a lot of characters getting introduced at once, and when they're all characters of the same gender. Like the first chapter we got a lot of men at once, the second chapter we got a lot of people don't like when you say females. We got a lot of women at once, and in that one they're all related, so they all have the same last name, and I'm like, this is confusing. So hopefully these characters do get developed. But I am going to be ending the vlog here. Let's kind of wrap it up. So how many books did I get this week, might you ask? 32 books. Yes. And I've read over 150 pages every day this week, and today looks like it might be a little less, not sure. And I have finished one book this week, the Lindbergh Nanny, and then yeah, that's it. That's all for the wrap up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're American, I hope you had a happy 4th of July. But if you like don't celebrate the holiday, I hope you had a happy 4th of July as well, because it's a day. So if you made it through this whole video, leave a red emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.